All right, welcome into Bears Nation podcast. It is Monday, October 3rd, and the Bears have lost the game to the New York Giants 20-12 after kicking 4 field goals with some of the most cowardly play calling I think I've ever seen in my life. But some things to do first. Today's episode on October 3rd. Can I do the business?
I'm scared.
I'm
nervous. I'm nervous. Do the business.
Can I do the business things first?
Do the business. Go.
God. Today, brought to you by the fine people at BetStamp. Bears Nation podcast brought to you by BetStamp today. All our bettors out there, we know that you price shop. You go out there, you're looking for the best number, the best prices. You don't want to lay a bunch of juice on something that you know is going to hit, and then you're losing money at that point. But that's not what you want. You go to BetStamp and you look, and they give you all of it right there at every price, at every site, every book right there, so that you know you're getting the best price that you can get. That's BetStamp, and that's what they do for you. They have partners with us at Bears Nation Podcast, so you use our code BNP when you first sign up at BetStamp. That's code BNP, and they will hook you up. Make sure that you are making the best bets possible. BetStamp, code BNP. Now I will get to the yelling.
That was good business. Okay, good job.
I know. I'm
Proud
a consummate professional.
Making us
Thank
some
you.
money
Kevin
here.
wants
Thank
to just get into the screaming and yelling and just not even.
You want to get into the screaming and yelling.
Kevin, I have a system. Okay.
Do you know?
Didn't even give me a chance to give our fine friends at BetStamp the credit that they deserve.
Fair.
Frankly, that they are owed, and that we are happy to give them. Again, code BNP at BetStamp when you sign up. Anyway, Kevin Lapka, this is Bears Nation podcast, by the way, brought to you by BetStamp. Myself, Jake Hassan, with Kevin Lapka. And my record improves on the old predictions. I tried to tell you, Kevin. And you know, this is how smart I am.
Oh, no.
This is how big my brain is. I have a friend who's a Giants fan. And I said, we had an argument because they are similarly as apathetic about the Giants as I am about the Bears. And I said, you know what? The Giants are going to win this game. And they said to me, no, the Bears are going to win this game. And I said, fine, let's put a bet on it.
Oh, no.
And shout out to Sam Panayotovich, because this is technically a bit of his. I said, let's bet a bottle of booze on it. I said, if the Giants win, you owe me a bottle of whiskey. And if the Bears win, I owe you a bottle of whatever you choose.
So you bet against the Bears.
Correct. You bet your ass I did. And guess who's got a fresh bottle of whiskey coming their way, Kevin Lapka?
You do.
Yes, that is true. Now, for the reasons that the Bears lost this game, I mean, where to begin? First of all, this was probably the ugliest game of the weekend, right? Bears, it was pretty atrocious.
Yeah.
It's
not
bad.
Really close.
It's close.
There was no quarterback for the Giants for the fourth quarter of the game.
Yeah,
okay?
And you still lost.
Yeah, you lost to a team with no quarterback and a USFL roster. Their whole franchise is injured by the fourth quarter. You're going out there against third stringers. I'm like, my God, you're playing up against the XFL. Like, what is going on out here? So,
speaking of which, the Bears should be relegated. Not even to the XFL. That's too much credit. The USFL. The long dead, what was it, AAF? American Association of whatever the hell it was. Unbelievable. You could go anywhere. I, of course, am going to choose to start with Kevin.
The coaching staff? Because that's where you should start, not Justin Fields.
No, I'm going to start with Justin Fields because I want to, and also because I think there's a lot of trickle-down effect that we can get to by starting with Justin Fields. It started so hopeful. The 54-yard pass to Darnell Mooney, which really, if Darnell Mooney doesn't slip, is a touchdown. Like, if Darnell Mooney doesn't fall down, which, wasn't the best conditions, was a little rainy, whatever.
Well, it was he kind of had to extend for the ball.
Right.
So that's not on him.
But he also, he slipped a little, and he also slowed down, which was weird. It seemed like he slowed down. Not the point. Whatever. Could have been a touchdown. Whatever. We'll take a 54-yard bomb to start the game. It was his, second completion of the game, like his third or fourth throw. Hopes were so high. I was like, by God, they figured it out. By God, but somehow it's happened. They're going to let Justin Fields throw down the field. They're going to target Darnell Mooney, and just immediately, unbelievable. Like, I want to also tie this in with everyone's like, oh, The back shoulder pass to Dante Pettis. What a throw.
That was a great throw. That was a phenomenal throw. The only place he could put it, Jake. The only place he could put it.
Super untrue. And let me tell you why. No. Dante Pettis had the defensive back beat. If Justin Fields just leads, if he throws the ball like he did to Darnell Mooney on that 54-yard completion, touchdown.
I don't know if there's a safety there. Did you see the all-22? Because there might have been a safety behind him lurking. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, admittedly, no, I did not.
Okay,
but
boom.
Off the replay and what they showed again, it looked like Justin Fields could have hit Dante Pettis in stride, and he was gone down the field. Now, I am willing to walk that one back if it shows that, yeah, whatever, the all-22, there was a safety over, and that was the throw that Justin Field made. Great. Not his fault that, unfortunately, he's throwing to Dante Pettis, who has bricks for hands, and this receiving core sucks. That's not Justin Fields' fault. What is Justin Fields' fault, though, ladies and gentlemen? Let me tell you. He doesn't know what he wants to do when he has the football. So this is what makes the good quarterbacks great. Jalen Hurts knows he's running or throwing. Josh Allen knows he's running or throwing. Lamar Jackson knows, unless it's like a broken play or it starts with a throw and then they have to scramble. But on design plays, the great quarterbacks know what they're doing. These guys who we want Justin Fields to turn into know what they're doing. Justin Fields runs around and it looks like he doesn't know what he's doing with it. Like, he doesn't make decisions.
You're wrong.
He makes a decision on if he wants to throw or run way too late, especially run. What are we doing at the end of the game where he just he tries to flip the ball at the last second? But when
Patrick Mahomes does it at the goal line, it's not okay. What are we talking about here?
No,
Patrick Mahomes does it at the goal line.
Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. Like he does this time after time after time. Justin Fields in his second year, you have to make decisions. He's out there and it looks like he doesn't know what he wants to do.
And I'll tell you why. All right, when you snap, when the ball is snapped to you, and in under half a second, Sam Mustipher misses the block, and there's a 340-pound defensive lineman in your face. What do you want the guy to do? He can't make a decision at that point. Everything that was planned for him on that play is broken in 0.5 seconds. All right, and there are statistics to back this up. And I know Justin Fields doesn't want to talk about stats. He said that.
Oh my God! Don't even get me started. We will talk about
Justin Fields.
Unbelievable.
This past week against the Giants was under pressure on 51.4% of his dropbacks against the Giants. On plays where he was kept clean, okay, when he was not under pressure, he went 10 of 14 for 168 yards with a PFF grade of 90.3. Okay, on plays where he was kept clean.
I saw this earlier because all of your likes have been popping up. All this Justin Fields propaganda.
It's not propaganda. This is real stuff, man. And Trent Dilfer was on the score today saying, "Look, I don't care if it's Brady back there or Mahomes or Rodgers or anyone. If you don't block well in the A gap, your quarterback has zero chance." And you go back and you watch the all-22 again, and not even all-22. Like, if you watch the game, they had a lot of great, end zone shots. They had a lot of great sky cam shots for us to see, kind of understand what was going on there. And it's like, dude, he takes the snap and just on a shotgun step, like no design bootleg here, no design rollout. Right. He takes a snap and, they blitzed a good amount of times. All right. And the Bears did not do a good job of countering that. And not only because schematically they weren't doing things right, but they weren't picking up the blitz. Like, Khalil Herbert was picking up his guy. That was fine. But then there's still another guy running free. Whose fault is that? Well, probably Sam Mustipher's fault. I mean, he takes the snap and he's under duress. And it's like situations like that. What do you want the guy to do? I mean, honestly, like, don't get me wrong. I thought this was the best game of Justin Fields' season so far, if I'm being entirely honest.
Well, Kevin, the bar was in hell.
Sure.
No shit. This was his best game of the season. 4 weeks in, he finally completed double-digit passes.
Yeah, because they finally let him throw it a little bit. I thought, and I am Scocks in the chat says, I think this was Justin's most decisive game of the season. And I sort of agree with that. Like, the bar was in hell as far as that goes. The bar was in hell, but would you rather see improvement or regression? What would you rather see? You know what I mean? Like, you take it for what it is, okay? But again, there's also a narrative that I think we need to crush, okay? And that narrative is being upset that Justin Fields extends plays with his legs as well. Like, there are times
that's what you want.
Right. But no. Yeah, that is what you want. But there are people who are upset about missing receivers. And everyone's going to talk about missing Darnell Mooney up the seam in the red zone. But again, Trent Dilfer today broke that down and said, and Darnell Mooney admitted in the press conference, he ran the wrong route. He ran the wrong route on that play.
That's really good. When
so
you have your number one wide receiver running,
he kind of took the blame for it, and I don't know if that's him just doing Justin Fields a favor there, but like it would make sense. Like Justin Fields isn't stupid. Like he's never had vision issues in his career. So when there are things like this where he misses, I really am more intrigued to understand what happened, because I know it's just Justin Fields just has bad vision. Like that's not the case. Like there's more often than not a reason for the things that he does, right? Like when it was Mitch Trubisky and other quarterbacks who aren't as cognitive as Justin Fields is, there's no reason. They just don't have it. And there's no reason. Like Justin Fields can go back and we can go back and look at it and be like, oh, this is what he was seeing. Say, he's looking off the safety there and he sees the safety coming up. Darnell Mooney's supposed to be a little bit further on that seam route, right? Like these are things that we don't see when we watch the game on our couch that they have explanations for. So I'd be quick to just, I wouldn't be quick, rather, to say that, he's missing guys and he wasn't decisive and all these things. Like, no, there are explanations for these things, and it all boils down to the protection. It's terrible. You know what's funny? Guess what? Guess where Sam Mustipher.
Stab funny.
Guess where? Ha funny, but not ha. Not really ha funny. Guess where Sam Mustipher? Guess where ESPN ranks Sam Mustipher?
Oh, okay. That's the other thing too.
Guess what his pass block win rate is this year in the NFL?
Yeah, it's like 99%.
It's 100%. What the fuck are we doing, man? No, it is not. Who's making these?
We live in a world in 2022 where we can send a camera into space that can take pictures of other galaxies and other universes and all this shit. But here on Earth, with technology that's been being developed for the last 20 years, we can't get to, and this goes for all sports, honestly, we can't get one catch-all, be-all, stat to analyze players. This goes the same for baseball. Baseball Reference versus Fangraphs. This goes for the NBA, and they're like shot charts, and then like Basketball Reference, and the NFL, PFF versus ESPN. Can we just get one? One. Because now what are we doing here? We're splitting hairs because you can, because the option's there. What are we doing? I can Google the image of another galaxy. Another galaxy. I want to make sure I can Google a camera that got sent into goddamn outer space and see a galaxy that has never been discovered in the millions of years that Earth has existed. But we can't get one way to evaluate football players? The sport where they go and just hit each other in the face over and over? What are we doing here? Make it make sense. And now I'm sweating, but it's worth it. We can go to the bottom of the ocean.
Well, we can't go to the bottom.
But there's a number that tells me Sam Mustipher's good at football and shouldn't be working at Meyer. What is it? Not even Jewel. Not Mariano's. Meyer. Okay? Like, it's so stupid. It's so stupid.
It's God. Made up. It's made up. These are the PFF is made up, bro. There's what do we where do the numbers come from? Like,
and you're gonna tell me that a blink of light in space that's another galaxy isn't made up? This is all made up, Kevin.
Well,
that's a whole other conversation for my therapist.
Apparently it is. But the bottom line is
I'm sweating.
He might.
Who is he? We mentioned
Sam Mustipher.
He's bad.
Sam Mustipher. He might be the worst center.
He might just be bad.
Football.
And here's the thing.
I'm just not kidding.
Back to your original point. The offense was bad. Like the offensive line was atrocious. Like really, really bad.
Really bad.
And of course, there's numbers flying all over Twitter. Well, Sam Mustipher was the worst, but Tevin Jenkins was good. But when Cody Whitehair was in, you had this, and when he went out, you had this, and on and on and on and on. Okay, great. End of the day is offensive line sucked, was really bad. Justin Fields, you're right, had no time whatsoever. I'm talking about on the times when he's running around and he's extending his plays with his legs. And I do think that's great. I think that's what you want in the modern NFL. It just seems like he pump fakes 3 times. It just seems like there are times, multiple times throughout a game, where Justin Fields has an option to run or hold on to the ball. And at some of those times, he waits until the very last second and doesn't take the opportunity that could make that big play. Like there were times on Sunday where there was a running lane, and if he had just taken it, you probably would have gotten 3-4 extra yards. But he held on, he was like waited till the last second instead of just making a decision and going. Like it seems like, and that might be to your point about his confidence last week.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that is a thing, but
it's 100% a thing.
But here's the thing too. And like I said, if you can't believe in your own ability, and I get it, like the coaching staff isn't helping, and some of that play calling was absolutely cowardly, and I stand by that, and we'll get to that. But if you're going to believe in yourself and confidence has always been your thing, you got to make a decision. And if you want to keep this job, you got to make a decision. And I'm not saying that Trevor Siemian's going to, I'm not saying Justin Fields is on a hot seat. I'm not saying you're going to see Trevor Siemian anytime soon. But
better not say that. I'll walk off this
But if you want to keep this job next year and the year after that and the year after that, you got to start making decisions. Like some of the times that we loved Justin Fields the most last year was when he just made a throw and he just said, you know what, screw it, I'm going. Or when he just ran against the 49ers last year on that miraculous scramble. He just decided to run. It seems like that decisiveness is just not there this year. And that, to me, is a big step backwards.
Well, I think you're underlying another issue here, and that would be he doesn't really have the option to be decisive if nobody's open, right? Like he can't be decisive. Okay,
so run. But
it's also not that easy either, because maybe there's not a running lane either, right? Like that could be true as well. But the bottom line is like a majority of people you ask would be more upset that he's not being decisive in the passing game than the running game. Like, because it's always, and this is what I mean. Like I tweeted it on Sunday. I was like, he just escaped the pocket in an incredibly athletic way to get a first down on 3rd and 10, and you're upset because he missed an open. No, like he uses his supreme athleticism to get the first down. I don't want to hear any of this about being upset about that. But there are a majority of people who are, more upset if a guy is not decisive when there's a guy open versus, when he's not decisive if there's a running lane open, right? And I think that's the root of the issues. But again, like we saw the sky cam a lot. We saw this end zone view a lot. And in a lot of those replays, and in times where there was a clean pocket, there weren't guys open immediately. Like there's nobody. Like I watched a couple of the replays where he's, getting sacked or having to escape the pocket and not being decisive, as you're mentioning. And I watch it back and I'm like, what is the guy supposed to do? Like he finally gets protection, and now there's there's nobody open. There's nothing available downfield. No, like what do you want a guy to do? Just throw a pick in that situation? Right. Like there's a difference between being aggressive and being careless with the football. Like you can be aggressive if there's just a foot of separation. And there was not a foot of separation in a lot of these plays. And this is, I will own up to it. Boy, was I wrong about the offensive skill players. And I'll cut myself a little bit of slack given the fact that Byron Pringle's out and Velus Jones Jr. hasn't seen the field despite being active. That frustrated me. If you're going to make him active, he better play. I don't care. Like, it can't be an excuse. If he's active on game day,
Dante Pettis cannot be playing and getting more looks than Velus Jones Jr.
He just can't. And if he's,
I will say, Equinomia St. Brown has actually played well.
He's been fine. He's been
better than expected. You expected him to be your 4. Well, he's been your 2.
Yeah. I wouldn't say he's worth the money you gave him yet, but it's close.
He was
without him.
He was expected to be your 4. He's been your 2.
Right, but the bottom line about Velus is I hear people saying, well, how are you going to expect him to play all the downs when he's coming off an injury? I don't care. He's returning kicks. He's okay to return kicks and fumble them, and he's okay to be active. He should be okay to play offensive snaps. If he's not healthy, make him inactive, right? Like if the guy practiced. And yeah, he was a limited, but he was a full participant on Thursday. The guy should have played.
If he can go out there and muff punts, then he can.
He can play on offense.
Yes,
he can at the very least be a decoy. Yep. I mean, that's what he's supposed to be anyway.
Yep.
He's supposed to take the top off of a defense and scare you a little bit, and pull the safeties away from the line of scrimmage a little bit like that. That's what he's meant to do. Put him out there as a decoy. He can run without having to touch anybody. Just do that. But man, again. I was wrong. I said all offseason, I was
who tried to tell you that?
Well, no, because
that's
listen,
crazy.
I still think that
if you say that Byron Pringle is the key to this offense again, I'm gonna.
I never said that.
I'm gonna. Yeah, you.
It makes a difference, but he's not the key.
Okay, fine. He makes a difference.
Thank you.
You did not say he's the key, but you were trying to die.
Don't put this on me.
You were trying to die on that Byron Pringle hill a couple.
I was not. I was never dying on the Byron Pringle hill. I never died on the Byron Pringle hill in the offseason. But the bottom line is,
no, you're right. It was 2 weeks ago.
I thought that they could do enough. With this offensive skill position unit that they have. And I still think to an extent that can be true, because that leads us to the next issue, which is play calling, which is not allowing these guys to get open. But man, Trayvon Wesco, is just like, who is dropping balls, in the third, fourth quarter?
Yep.
Dante Pettis, again, whether you like it or not, whether that throw could have been better or not, you must admit that should have been a catch.
No, I said that.
94,
I said that when I brought it up. Yeah,
94% of receivers in the league make that catch, like a very high, like maybe even higher. Like that was
honestly,
not a
you probably
catch.
make that catch.
No, I was thinking that myself. Like,
of course you were.
Of course, the defender was, didn't bat the ball, didn't swat the ball. Like that's a catch.
It hit his hands. It was in his hands.
Like, God, man. Like, and again, so here we are. We're outlining the problems here, and it's like, man, you still have the audacity to believe that Justin Fields is the problem. Like, again, both things can be true, where Justin Fields must be playing better, but it must be taken into consideration. And we see it week after week after week that give him, Jackson Smith and Jigba, give him T. Higgins is a name that's floating around for the offseason. Give him a competent offensive line, and things will change. They may not be near what his projection was when he was drafted, but things will be better than what you are seeing right now.
Question. Okay, just on based on what you just said, that is, he'll never be.
No, I'm not saying never.
Or next year.
Next year. Like it's too early to say. He's
hypothetical question.
Yes.
Would you rather have T. Higgins and Jackson Smith and Jigba, or two elite offensive linemen, one from the draft and one from free agency?
Can I take the offensive lineman in free agency and the wide receiver in the draft?
Sure, because that was going to be my next question.
Yes, you can't. I because both are significant areas of need, and you have to fulfill both of them. And you're going to be in a position to. The good thing is, here's what I would do. It's not funny that we're talking about 2023 because at this point,
I started last week, so
that's the solution. Well, it's the solution. Like at this point, there's no other solution. Like you have to just start thinking forward about how you can help this team. And the only way to help this team is through money next year. Like there's just, I'm out. I think, look,
are you, I did this last week.
Listen,
I did this whole thing last week.
You don't understand
I
what
sat
I'm saying.
in this seat.
You don't understand what I'm saying.
I sat right here.
You don't understand what I'm saying.
And I said to you, Kevin Lapka, I said, this is going to be a big game because you're probably going to be fighting with the Giants for draft position. And you said to me, I don't want to hear about draft position. You're 2-1. No. You're going to be 3-1. What do you mean draft position?
No, but this is not. No.
What?
I'm not advocating to tank for. I'm not advocating to tank. I still will each week advocate for a win. What I'm saying is the reality of the situation is like they need talent they need talent, and the only way they're going to get new talent is through the offseason and the draft next year. That is just a fact. That has nothing to do with the way.
This is not a bit. This is the look of shock. I said all of these things to you.
But you're
repeating. No. It's like looking in a mirror right now.
But I'm not advocating for this. I'm not advocating for them to tank. I'm not advocating for them.
But
I'm just saying
in reality,
in
the position that what you just said.
What did
you just
say?
said multiple times. You said, but
Don't
in reality, you
Jake.
Literally just said 30 seconds ago. But in reality, and then you were going to go on to say you have to start looking at future assets and how.
Well, you should always be looking at future assets, whether you're.
I'm going to lose my mind.
17. This is how things work. Okay, but. Well, here's what I'll admit to you, Jake. Here's what I'll admit to you. That game made me think about it a little bit more. All right. I started entertaining some mock drafts a little bit more after that game. It doesn't mean I want them to tank for Jackson. It doesn't mean I want them to tank for Kayshon Boutte, but I entertained it. I entertained it a little bit more. They still can.
Did you run a mock draft? Yes or no?
No, I did not run a mock draft, but I saw some people post things on
Twitter.
If you
said yes, I was gonna.
No, I would never. I wouldn't run a mock draft.
Turn into a WWE
Running a mock draft at this point of the year is just dumb. It makes zero sense. What are you doing? But again, like I'm
so mad right now.
The problems rose to the surface so much, and I think part of it is like we sat here last week and we spent the whole show detailing solutions, right? Like these are the ways that you can make things better for your quarterback.
Yes,
and like there are still ways that can be done.
Sure.
Through play calling, but it's just like to me more than ever last week, it was a realization for me that holy crap, the personnel is just not good enough. You know what
Correct.
I mean? And that was
Cole Kmet might just stink.
Right. Like, and those are hard realizations to come to.
If the Bears,
especially for me, but
in the next 20 years, if the Bears spend a second round pick on a tight end again, I'm gonna have an aneurysm.
Yeah, I was again. I saw these mock drafts on Twitter, and like, one of them is like Michael Mayer, and I'm like, oh god, if the Bears took Mike Mayer in the first round, I would cry.
Bowers would be the only one from Georgia because that guy's unbelievable.
That guy's a freak.
That guy's unreal.
Yeah, but like, okay, look, he at might Kyle win the Pitts, Heisman, but look at Kyle Pitts.
Fair,
like.
That's fair.
I just don't do it. Don't do it. Like, and Cal Pitts is very good. There's factors there as well, right? There's factors there as well.
Marcus Mariota being one of them.
Sure. And the Falcons just being the 4-0 against the spread, Atlanta Falcons, say you.
They might be the new Lions.
They might be. But bottom line is, again, like, it was just a realization for me.
BNP.
You just don't have the personnel. Now, as I say that, let's talk about solutions on the offensive line, because I tweeted this to you.
I want to do one more Justin Fields thing.
Okay. I don't, but
I do. Because we didn't even talk about the quote yet.
I have no problem with the quote. We're not breaking down the quote. No, we're not doing this.
You have no problem
I have
with
no
the
problem
quote.
with it.
You have zero problem with
players
the quote.
don't give a fuck about stats, and they shouldn't. It doesn't matter.
But
wins are all that
we
matters.
have to put into context the whole quote. He said,
and what would that be?
Like, when I forget who was asked him, why do you think the offense isn't working, or how do you feel about the offense not working? He said, well, why isn't the offense working? And says the stats. Well, the stats don't matter. Buddy, that's not true. The stats directly reflect how the offense is performing.
That's true.
Offensive line notwithstanding, even if you, say Justin Fields struggles are on, the lack of protection. Well, only letting him throw 16, 17, 15 times, that reflects the offense and the state of it. That you can still give a legitimate answer instead of just saying, "Oh, the stats don't matter." They absolutely matter. Even if it's not what you want them to be, you can still gain something from looking at the box score.
Yeah, I think the problem with the quote is like, it's hard to interpret that. Like, I don't think he was denying that the offense was bad. And like, dude, he went on the podium last week and was like, "We look like shit. I look like shit." Like, if he's going to be real with you, I think he's going to be real with you in those moments. But it was just a weird, like, I don't know. We're not going to break that down anymore.
On top of that, okay, fine. Then I wrote this down on Sunday. Does it bother you? Because this was a big Kevin Lapka thing in seasons prior.
Oh, no.
This was a big Kevin Lapka thing. The camaraderie and the mentorship and the talking to people on the sidelines and having the tablet in front of you. Was there this or was this not a big Kevin Lapka thing seasons prior?
I think it's always a big thing. Yeah,
okay,
for sure.
So does it bother you that Justin Fields seemingly is always sitting alone, is seemingly never talking to anyone, whether that be Trevor Siemian or Luke Getsy or the offensive line or anybody, and seemingly never has a screen in front of him? Does it bother you that every time it's Justin Fields on the sideline, it's him like this?
Let's take a couple of things into consideration.
Wait, I'm not done yet. It's still going. It's like this. He doesn't move. That's what he's disassociating on the sideline actively.
I don't think
like, what does that mean? I think he's just sitting there. Like,
I don't think he's disassociating. The way I took that was he doesn't want to be with the team. Like,
no, not that. He's just turning his brain off. Like,
I don't think he's doing that either.
Like,
I think he's actually reflecting more than
his eyes don't move. It's kind of real weird.
He's reflecting.
It's freaky.
Again.
But okay,
so I'll tell you. Yes. I'll answer your question. I'll answer your question here, and here's the example I'll use. Okay, I watched Sunday Night Football, Chiefs Bucks, right? And we're all witnessing the magic of Patrick Mahomes. And this is one of the reasons I love Patrick Mahomes, is because, first of all, he's just such an exciting player. Like, both when he makes the play, but after he makes the play, right? He's excited. He's talking to his teammates. But then, they always will show shots of him on the bench, and he's always on his feet, moving around, talking, going to offensive linemen, dapping them up, talking to his receivers. Always actively engaged. And those I think are redeeming qualities of Patrick Mahomes, right? And I think
because he needs so many redeeming qualities.
Yeah, he has few.
Yeah,
he has few. But those are things that I think are actually really important. And now the problem, the interesting thing to me is.
No, you're right. The problem. Don't say it's just
no, because I don't think it's a problem, because Justin Fields has never shown to be a bad leader. He's never shown to be a bad leader and bad with his teammates. Like, there's nothing true about that. So that's why I'm confused more than I am concerned, because and that's the way I feel about a lot of the current things with Justin Fields is confusion instead of concern, because these were all qualities that we saw in college. And some of those things are innate, and some of those things, like, don't leave you, right? And to see those things go away is just confusing. But to answer your question, like, yes, it's strange. Yes, I would personally like to see more of it. And there is something to be said about, well, they don't show all the angles and they don't show him after every drive. There's truth to that too, to cut him a little slack. But I would like to see a little bit of that Patrick Mahomes energy, or even, and now that I think about it, like Tom Brady does kind of do the sit still thing too sometimes. But here's the thing. Okay, here's the thing.
Also,
been around. Here's I just realized as well. When most do you see guys sitting still like that, barely moving their eyes? When they struggle, right?
Sure.
Like when you have success, then you're more inclined. Hey, let's go, Mooney. Yeah. Hey, good job offensively. Like Justin Fields is not going up to Sam Mustipher and to say, hey, good job, buddy. Let's go. Let's get him next drive. If you're not visualizing, you guys can watch us on YouTube, and Twitch, Twitter, everywhere. If you're listening to podcast form, I'm doing a little dap ups thing. That's why you're hearing that clap. But I would. Look, this is great radio. This is great podcasting, because I'm helping out for those who can't visually see it. This is really good stuff from me. Yeah. But
masterclass.
I will say that point, I was more enraged by your tweet. I was enraged by your tweet on Sunday, but now that I understand what you're talking about, I do get it. But and there's a conversation to be had about, like, maybe this team doesn't handle struggle well. Maybe this team doesn't handle, defeat well. And that's a legitimate conversation to be had, because
in that case, Matt Eberflus stinks and needs to be fired immediately.
That's not true. They're a young team who hasn't dealt with struggle a lot before. A lot of these guys, again, and I've talked about this with Justin Fields before, and this is a very, very true thing. Like, they haven't dealt with a lot of struggle in their careers, right? Like, they win all the time in high school, they win in college, and then they come to the NFL, and it's a reality of, oh crap.
We did this whole song and dance last week,
right? But there's truth to it.
And I stand by what I said. If you can't handle losing and you expect to stick in the NFL, you're not going to. You're mentally soft.
But get used to losing. No. But there's a difference. Happens. There's a difference between staying that way and adjusting and changing, right? Like, not everyone is that way once they enter the league. With that is not every single player that has ever been drafted just handles struggle well. You get to the NFL, you're like, oh shit, this is a new experience. I'm going to lose a lot here. You accept that, you change. Like, we forget, people can develop, people can change. And then, going forward in their careers, they're able to, adapt and handle adversity a little bit better than when they're younger. Again, this is a very young team, but you're right. Let's go to what before we were talking about that, what were we going to transition to? Oh, here's what I want to transition to. Okay. I'll let you first. I sent you the tweet, right, about the offensive lineman, about what it's going to look like for the next couple of weeks now that Cody Whitehair is injured. I have to go grab my charger for 2 seconds, read out what that offensive line for the next couple of weeks is going to look like.
Yeah, I mean, so the offensive line with Cody Whitehair going out, you're going to have Braxton Jones at left tackle. Obviously, that stays the same. Lucas Patrick at left guard in place for Cody Whitehair. Sam Mustipher now at center, at least for the next couple of weeks, because our whole thing was, is Lucas Patrick going to be taking over center and Sam Mustipher is just a placeholder? Well, on Sunday, had a lot of pressures, I think only allowed one pressure, if not zero. Played really well and has come along really nicely in the last couple of weeks. So that's great. That's what you wanted to see. Tevin Jenkins' redemption story. Awesome. And then right tackle, Larry Borum, who's been a stalwart there since last season.
Stalwart?
Since
last season. What we're calling him?
Yeah, I mean, that's stalwart since last season.
Larry Borum?
I mean, he's been a consistent starter, so yes.
Sorry about the lighting, guys. I'm sorry about that.
Anyway, that's real gross. And you're going to be without your best offensive lineman now for at least the next few weeks, handful of weeks, probably month, 2 months. But yeah, the protection for Justin Fields is not about to get any better.
Yeah, but here at Bears Nation Podcast, we're in the business of solutions. We're a solution-based podcast, and that's what we're going to do right here. We're not going to bitch and complain about it. We're going to tell you how can they fix it, all right? And I think there are a couple solutions, and I'm not sure why they're not entertaining these solutions because, again, I don't know if they're just reading ESPN pass block win rate stats there at Hallis Hall, but if anyone at that effing place has an eyeball, they should know you do whatever it takes to get Sam Mustipher out of there. And I don't know if the root of this whole issue is still that Lucas Patrick can't snap a football, which is goddamn ridiculous because all we saw last week is he's snapping in practice and we're on the show. And again, what did I say? I was like, I'm evaluating this game as if Lucas Patrick is the center.
Yep.
And maybe if I knew that he wasn't the center, I would have picked differently. And I ain't kidding, Jake. That is just how bad he is. I am not kidding.
You're a liar.
I am a liar. I still would have taken the Bears. But there is truth to the fact that there's a difference in this team if there is a better center than Sam Mustipher playing. Okay, so how can they change this? Well, Michael Schofield's still on the roster. All right. So my solution is I don't care if some of these guys have never played a position before. You do whatever it takes to get Sam Mustipher out of there. If Lucas Patrick is healthy, move him to center, move Jenkins to left guard, and put Schofield at right guard. Or put Schofield at left guard, keep Jenkins at right guard. Do whatever it takes to get Mustipher out of there. Do whatever
don't
it
move
takes.
Jenkins.
So leave him at right guard and put Schofield at left?
Yeah, because I'd rather move Schofield, who's the veteran. Like, Jenkins is finally playing well and consistently. Just leave him for now. Like,
so
leave him where he is.
I'm trying to. Did Schofield ever play left guard in his career? At some point. That's the question, because I mean, and here's the other thing, right? God, the Bears really have they have not gotten lucky with injuries, and it's like very subtle things. Like, nobody's been out for the year, fortunately enough, really. Right. But you got guys who are going out with quad, Pringle on the IR, N'Keal Harry on the IR. Like, these are important players. Lucas Patrick not being on the snap, and a player that I think would make a difference right now would be Alex Leatherwood. I mean, if you got him back and you were able to slot him in,
to be honest, I completely forgot that guy existed.
Right, but now that we're trying to figure out different solutions for the offensive line, like at this point,
I completely forgot that guy existed.
I forgot he was on the Bears, right? I looked back and I was like, how can we fix this? I was like, Leatherwood, right? Is Leatherwood great? No. Is he better than Sam Mustipher? Yes, and you can't put him at center. But again, you have to flex somebody to center. And you know what I did today? I mean, it got so bad. Like, during work, I went and I just looked up free agent centers. Yeah. Just like, I don't care if you're 38. I don't care if I think there's one guy, and it was like Mike Paredes, used to be with the Panthers. He's only 32. Actually, I don't think he signed anyone right now. So keep an eye out. But it's funny. It's funny because all offseason we heard Ryan Poles say, we're going to do whatever it takes to make this team better, and we're going to be active. Like, this is I don't care if Will Fuller is going to get suspended again. Sign him. Do whatever you want to do. Whatever it takes. Do whatever it takes. Just give OBJ $1 billion just for him to come here.
That's
like,
weird,
I don't
right?
care.
That he's still not signed, although he's probably still recovering.
I mean, he's doing concert with Drake. He probably doesn't even want to come out. Like, I think he's waiting to figure out which team he wants to go to.
It's going to be the Rams.
I think it could be the Bills, but
God,
they don't really need him.
Yo, you think?
But that's not the problem. Anyway, any ideas? Anything you like there about the solutions on offensive line? Because are you even entertaining that? Rather,
I mean, the obvious fit is put Patrick at center, but you're going to be sacrificing something somewhere. Maybe they like the consistency and the familiarity that Mustipher has with Fields. I don't know what their excuse is. I completely forgot Leatherwood existed, going to be honest with you. Former first-round pick, obviously shouldn't have been that. Everyone laughed at the Raiders at the time that it happened, and the Bears bring him in. But, yeah, maybe it's him. Maybe it's Riley Reef, and you put him at right tackle, and you put Larry Borum at left guard where he played in college.
Oh, yes.
So maybe you have something there, because Reef was supposed to be your left tackle, and then he stunk so bad and he was hurt. But he played right tackle throughout his career in the NFL, so maybe you put Borum at left guard where he played in college, leave Jenkins at right guard, because like I said, don't really want him moving around anymore now that he's finally playing consistently. And, well, on top of it, you got to try something.
And
you got to try something.
That's the problem I have is we heard a lot from Matt Eberflus, and I don't have there are people, Jake, who are jumping the gun about firing Matt Eberflus in front of coaching staff. Like, you can't jump that. You can
pretty bad.
No. You can talk about the offensive coordinator. You cannot.
The defense was bad Sunday.
Right.
The defense was bad Sunday.
And I think there's, again, personnel issues up front with that had to do with it. But there was, we haven't even talked about the lack of contain on every single read option. Oh my God, bootleg. We were getting killed by bootlegs.
You're getting killed by Daniel Jones on bootlegs that you can see time after time. They're coming from a million miles away. You're getting killed on Wildcats when they don't have a quarterback at all. You're getting killed by Saquon Barkley taking the snap.
I thought about this when that was happening. I was like, would you have loaded the box with 12?
Yes.
With 11 guys?
Yes.
Seriously.
Maybe not even 12. Maybe you don't have to send all 12, but 11. Yeah, you can't have 12. Not all. You don't send 11, but send 9, send 8. They're not throwing the ball.
They don't trust Kyler Gordon
Like,
one-on-one
why-
against Daniel Jones on the outside as a wide receiver.
Speaking of which, Kyler Gordon, he might stink too. Like, why are you even bothering covering Daniel Jones? He can't run. He can't walk.
Dude, they're worried about Daniel Jones running a mean.
Yeah, like Daniel Jones is
Daniel Jones is
limping
going to
in
get
the
behind
huddle.
the defense.
Like, seriously? Yeah, I mean, I was stunned.
Play action.
So
Saquon
that's a good
back, throws
segue
to Daniel Jones.
That's a good segue because we talk. The personnel's been an issue all year. We knew that was going to happen. And as we segue into the coaching staff and the decisions, we will once again segue into a read for BetStamp again, our friends who are now sponsoring and supporting this show. And you should support BetStamp when you sign up. Code BNP. BetStamp is going to give you all the best prices, all the best analysis, everything you need to make the best bets possible and win the most money possible and put it in your pocket. So go to BetStamp, use our code BNP when you sign up. Show love to BetStamp the same way you show love to us. And by showing love to BetStamp, you continue to show love to us. And why wouldn't you want to do that? Why wouldn't you want to show us love? Why would you do that?
So fair.
I know you guys don't want to do that. So go to BetStamp, use code BNP, and make that money. God, the coaching staff are cowards. All of them. Everybody, especially on that offensive, everybody on the offensive coaching staff is offensive to my eyeballs because they are cowards. How you're inside the 10, you're inside the 7 twice, and you kick field goals twice. You gotta go for that. You get touchdowns.
What was the down distance on those plays?
Like, I didn't write it down, but
like under 3 yards.
I mean, you were at the 2 at least once. I think
you were saying go on 4 down.
Yes,
4 down.
100%.
Okay,
absolutely.
In any situation in the game, even in first quarter.
You get field.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm just
field
trying to
goals
understand your
don't
context.
win games, as
Correct.
you saw. Field goal, 2 field goals win you a game, maybe 3 even.
So how'd you feel about them punting it away in the fourth quarter?
That and I retweeted this. Let me find it. It was
that the punt index thing?
The
surrender punt.
The surrender index.
Yeah,
yes.
the surrender index.
It rated out as one
of
the most cowardly punts
of the year.
I
think it was like 97th percentile all time.
It was crazy. Chicago decided to punt to New York from the Chicago 45 on 4th and 2 with 3 minutes and 15 remaining in the game while losing 12-20. Surrender index of 26.46. This ranks at the 98th percentile of cowardly punts of the 2022 season and the 97th percentile of all punts since 1999.
Did you say 97th?
97th percentile.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Since 1999. Like, if you're gonna rationalize kicking those field goals and making a 1-score game, fine. But you have to know you're going for it in that scenario.
Right.
They're like, you have to, at some point, you have to have conviction and say, okay, we got to make a play here and put the ball in the hands of this guy, of this quarterback who we think is good, or are we going to continue to say we think is good and make a play? And it's just the play calling on offense as a whole. Like and we talked about last week. Yeah, at some point you have to stack these short yardage throws and build the rapport and build the confidence and start getting in a rhythm. You can't do that late in the game. You can't have your last play of the game be a little out route that's going to go 3 yards that wouldn't have even gotten you the first down, and then turns into a circus of laterals.
That was
which
fun, though.
was outrageous.
That was awesome.
Because I thought for sure something crazy was going to happen. Like it went on.
I thought we had it. I thought for a second. I was like, it's too long. Like it's going to happen.
And it would have been the stupidest way. But did like Kevin, even if let's say the Bears scored on that lateral, like that crazy lateral down the game. Yeah. Would you really have had confidence that the Bears would have converted a 2-point conversion?
No confidence.
I would have had zero. I would have still walked away from the team. 0.0% would I have thought that the Bears had the play calling required to convert a 2-point conversion. You ran Khalil on 3rd and short, 2nd and short, multiple times throughout that game. You just ran Khalil Herbert into a stack box. They showed you from a mile, from as far out in outer space as that goddamn camera. You saw that the Giants were stacking the box and that Khalil Herbert would have nowhere to go. And they did it anyway. They did that multiple times, and about a handful of times in the second half. Multiple times. And it's like no adjustments. No, all right, let's just hope for the best. Listen, I like Khalil Herbert. I think he's a good player. And I think the Bears' offensive line, for all their faults and pass protection, they're a decent run blocking unit, clearly, because Khalil Herbert still found room to run.
This week.
Not as much this week, but over the course of the year. And you don't put your team in a position to succeed.
Correct.
Great. Yeah, you don't like How are you going to trust a kicker you brought off the practice squad more than Justin Fields?
He's the GOAT, Michael Badgley.
Fine, great. He got released from the practice squad today,
4-4.
which means Cairo Santos is back. There's your roster update for the week.
Wendy's 4-4, baby.
I mean, that's just like, how are you going to, like, cowardly? Like, that's the best way to put it from the tweet. That is coward. The punt, the play calling, the decision to kick a field goal every time, to not go for it on 4th and 2 to try and get a touchdown. Everything about it was cowardly, and everything about it was just sad to watch. Like, that's not how you're going to win football games. Not at all. Not 0 times out of 0. And I honestly, and I wrote this down to be able to say this, you quote tweeted a tweet today.
Oh, no.
That,
what did it
about how don't be this guy. About people comparing Natty or Flus to the other coaches. Brian Dable, Mike McDaniel.
Don't be that guy.
No, I'm going to be that guy. The Bears are 4-0 if you have Brian Dable or Mike McDaniel.
Correct.
Kevin, you're out here picking the Bears every week. You don't think they're 4?
I'm not picking the Bears every week.
You so far.
I'm 3-1 on picks. Respect my name, brother.
Whatever. Shut up. Point being, if you have Brian Dable, if that's flipped on Sunday, you win that game. And honestly, I think Brian Dable, after seeing how that man calls a game and the nuts that he has on him, you probably win the game against the Packers too, because he probably has a better play call than the Justin Fields. Yes, is it? But the Bears objectively are 4-0 with Mike McDaniel or Brian Dable as coach.
Let's all,
at the very least, they're 3-1.
What we're going to do here is we're going to enter the time capsule, okay? And what I should do actually is go back and find the audio from week 4 of the 2018 season and our thoughts on Matthew Nagy at the time. And how we were probably clowning the other teams that selected head coaches that year, right? And look how it panned out. It is way too early to make a determination.
I'm saying to this point though, on this date, October 3rd, 2022, the Bears would be 4-0 with the Bears would be 4-0.
They would have been 4-0 with Jim Caldwell too. Don't forget. Don't get it twisted.
What are you doing?
That was my prediction for coach back in the summer. That's why.
Because that was our like scorched earth pit of misery pick though. Because God, it looked like they were going to hire him.
It sure did look like it. Now
that was us, that was us being smart and trying to reverse jinx it, and it worked. So.
It did work. Good for us. You're welcome. But we talked earlier about this, right? I've come to the realization that personnel just isn't good enough at the moment, right? Okay. And there are reasons to that, not only from a standpoint of they didn't really do enough in the offseason, like there's cases to be made there, but the injuries are also a case. But here's what I think the conversation should turn to. Okay, we have spent the last couple of weeks, all of national Chicago media, wherever you go, talking about, does the offensive coaching staff have trust in their quarterback? Sure. And the answer for most people has been no. I would implore you to start having the conversation of maybe Luke Getsy understands that his personnel isn't good enough, and for that reason, he doesn't want to put Justin Fields in bad situations. He doesn't want to, that I think is the conversation we need to be having more of, is he doesn't want to rely on that. He knows. He's in that building every day. He sees it. Maybe he's the one that has eyeballs. He doesn't want to put Justin Fields in drop back situations because he knows his offensive line isn't good enough to protect. And I came to that realization this week that maybe that can be true as well, right? So and again, now there are ways now that I say it that isn't true. Like, if you really didn't have trust in your personnel, then don't have them run 4 verticals and have them try to get open. Correct. Like, run a slant, do something where guys who aren't good enough can get open. Like, I watched, JT Fortson on the Chiefs score a touchdown yesterday, a nobody, and that guy actually looked kind of athletic, but he just ran a slant and it just got inside leverage on a smaller cornerback. Like, just do that. Just run it. Just do that, right? Like, it's not that hard. But again, I still think there could be partial truth to the fact that maybe Getsy maybe Getsy knows that the offensive personnel isn't good enough, and therefore he doesn't want to put Justin Fields in bad situations. But I don't think that's an entire, that could be true, but it's still not it's still not an excuse, because he has been abysmal.
I think that the personnel thing, I mean, we talked about it coming into the season. I think the personnel is part of the story. I think there's something to that argument. I don't think it's the whole story because some of these play calls
Yeah.
are downright cowardly. They're downright just scared play calling.
And real quick, before we break down exactly some of those play calls, the one thing I want to say about that is this, and it happened in the first 5 minutes of the game, right? You talked earlier about, you got excited after that 56-yard pass to Darnell Mooney. I mean, I had a player prop on Darnell Mooney over 33 yards.
Nice.
And I was like, bingo, like there it goes, right? Like easy.
That's stamp code BMP.
And yeah, there you go. Bet Stamp, what they do is they show you all the odds on the sports book. You probably could have got Darnell Mooney over 33 yards, like plus 130 somewhere, because that's what they do with this app. They show you the best value with the sports books. But what I was going to say is they did that, and I was like, this is great, right?
Yep.
Like we talked all week about creating confidence for your quarterback, doing the right things, and then what they do after that, I think they passed the ball 2 other times the rest of the drive, or the next 2 drives.
Yeah.
Like you put your quarterback in a good position to establish a rhythm and establish confidence, and within 10 minutes of game clock, you just let it go away. You do nothing to continue that rhythm and nothing to continue that confidence for your young quarterback. And it's just like that was the most frustrating thing for me about the offensive play call.
This was the most frustrating moment for me. You have a chance to flip the game. Big chance to completely turn the tide of the game. Daniel Jones heaves one up, and Kyler Gordon just gets absolutely toasted for like the second, third drive in a row. And here comes Eddie Jackson out of nowhere and just plucks that ball right away. Like,
no. I don't think Kyler Gordon was burnt on that play. He wasn't burnt. He wasn't toasted. He was.
If not for Eddie Jackson, that's a touchdown. Eddie Jackson saved Kyler Gordon's bacon.
By the way, hell of a play. I mean, Willie Mays style
finish.
Sorry.
Eddie Jackson comes out of nowhere, Willie Mays style, over the shoulder, like he's like his head, his eyeballs are backwards, basically. That made sense. Gross analogy. But anyway, Eddie Jackson with a great play. Awesome game-turning type of play that you are looking for, that we talk about every week. These are the type of takeaways the Bears need to make if you want to win games. Oh, the Bears are undefeated when Eddie Jackson has an interception in a game. And then you set up and you run the ball, and you run the ball, and you gain 7 yards, and you punt.
Did they run it 3 times?
I think there was one short pass, regardless. You do the most scary. You had the perfect moment to not even take a deep bomb, but to go 15 yards down the field. Take a medium shot, just a crumb of aggressiveness, and really start to kick the Giants in the teeth and say, all right, here's where we take this game away. And you don't. And you have these soft play calls. And you run Khalil Herbert. Immediately after the reception, first play was a run Khalil Herbert up the middle. And you got like 2 yards, if that. And immediately, and I saw that, and I was like, you're punting. You just gave up.
You know what?
I just gave up.
Be honest. When he got the interception, how confident were you they were going to turn in the points?
I mean, I was like, minimal confidence, but still, like, that's a big like those are the type of plays, like I said, we talk about every week that fires up the offense. All right, let's get out there, let's score some points. This is where we take, because it was still a 1-score game at that point.
Yeah,
this is where we take this game. This is where we turn it into something. We steal victory from the jaws of defeat. Nope, you play soft and you call soft plays, and you turn an interception into 7 yards, and you give it right back.
7 yards, not 7
and you
points.
give it right back. And you say, all right, we'll try again.
After that, you knew the game.
Yep.
It was at that moment.
Yep. I turned to my roommate and I said, this game's over.
Yeah. You're like, I'm getting this bottle of whiskey.
Yep.
You're probably thrilled, actually. But
if the Bears are going to lose like that,
you better get
I might do this the rest of the season. I might do it for games like this, where it's like a coin flippy game for the Commanders, the Jets, the Lions. I might just do this the rest of the season. I will find whatever fan of their team is as apathetic as I am, and we'll do this, and we will make these bets, because I am willing to make a killing on this.
I'll be honest. Like, I bought my dad and I tickets to the Commanders game for Father's Day.
They might lose that game.
They might, but I thought for a split second about selling them. I mean, it's not an entertaining product. Like, I'm not getting my money's worth.
You think anybody at that Giants-Bears game had fun? Actually,
it was raining.
Yeah, and actually, Saquon Barkley was pretty good still too. So
and
but the Commanders, who are you getting excited to see in Commanders Bears?
See, like I thought I was getting excited for Justin Fields. I'm sorry, Dad. Bad Father's Day gift. Sorry.
Like who are you excited? Like Bears Commanders. Let me go see
Fields versus Wentz. Let's go.
Oh God, like it might be better if Sam Howell's playing it.
Jahan Dotson versus Velus Jones.
Let me go see Jahan, and Jahan Dotson might be really, really good. Yeah, but like,
hey, that was our guy in the draft process.
I've said it multiple times. But like, I think the Commanders should just start Sam Howell at this point. Carson Wentz is so bad, and he might be better. But like, I might just do this. Like the Patriots
Bailey Zappi
with Bailey Zappi. I might do this with my friend Sam.
I got a pass.
She's a big Patriots fan. Yeah, might do that with it. But like, Jackson, I mean, obviously you're gonna get just dog walked by the Vikings. But like, Commanders, Patriots, Cowboys are gonna be good. Dolphins are gonna be good.
Talking myself into
Falcons. I might do this with the Falcons fan. Jets. Everyone else is gonna get dog walked by, including the Lions. I don't even want to do this with a Lions fan because the Lions are obviously going to win. They probably won't take that bet.
Let me go back to what we were talking about with the ensuing drive after. Here comes my Pats friend in the chat. Bailey Zappi is a legend.
Yeah,
that touchdown pass he threw, like I could have thrown that. That he looked like he just threw like a dodgeball. Like
he's probably better than Brian Hoyer.
Than Brian Hoyer, yes. Go watch the Trent Dilfer talk about Fields and Sam has to be replaced now. CPB film. Guess who posted that on YouTube? That was me. You're welcome. If you're talking about the one from 6-7 score. But let's go back to that ensuing drive after the Eddie Jackson interception. Okay?
Do we have to?
Here's the thing, and here's a conversation that we have to. Here's the conversation, goes back to a conversation I think we had a couple weeks ago, was, you look at the best quarterbacks in the league, right? They're always in the ear of their offensive coordinator. And a lot of times, and sometimes it takes years in the league and, proven years in the league to have the ability to do this. But you go up, you dictate the tempo now. You go up to Luke Getsy and I implore Jake, or not Jake, someone said Jake, Justin Fields to next time, and it's hard for him to do this, to be like, hey, yeah, they are. Jake out here disrespecting Scary Terry. I don't think you disrespected Terry McLaurin.
No, he's on my fantasy team.
Yeah.
I would like him to perform better, actually.
But this is,
I mean, that's the Carson Wentz effect. That's not his fault.
This is the time in a situation like that where you talk about, this is a momentum changing play, and everyone on the sidelines is ready to go, right? Like Justin Fields used to say, "Luke, we're taking a shot. Like, this is our chance. Like,
ideally, yes.
This is why you see, and Patrick Mahomes and Eric Bieniemy go back and forth, and Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur go back and forth sometimes. Like, these are some of the best quarterback coach relationships in the league, and it's fostered by feedback from both sides. And if you really if you want this to be a connection that's here for a long time, which everybody does, everybody in an ideal scenario, Luke Getsy's here for 10 years, and so is Justin Fields.
No,
well, actually, in an ideal scenario, Luke Getsy's here for 2 years,
right? And then he goes to get the head coaching. But that's what we were all talking about.
And that was we're stupid. Yeah, it sure does. But again, that's where I want to see, hey, we're going to do this, and a good, what a good offensive coordinator does. A good offensive coordinator is receptive to that. A good offensive coordinator listens to that and says, "Okay, we'll do it your way. You're the franchise quarterback.
Or
Let's
ideally
do it your way,
says,
at least for
you're right. Or ideally is on the same page.
Good idea. Yeah, because
already had it drawn up.
You can't
already had the play
run
call.
It sure seemed like it. And at first, I don't blame them doing it on first down. Right, you're at the 5-yard line. Give yourself breathing. That's fine. But they ran 12 out of their 15 first down plays. Yesterday, 12 of them were run plays. And now I believe 4 of those 12 were scrambles, so that's why they came up to 12. So technically 8 called run plays on first down. But the problem is when you think about, why are they not doing anything? Why are they stalling on drives? And that, well, the problem is you are putting yourself in third and long scenarios. You're getting 2 yards on first down. And then on second down, you have no protection. So you're either taking a sack or you're an incompletion. And all of a sudden, in a matter of 15 seconds on the game clock, you're on 3rd and 8. And you're at 3rd and 9. And you don't have the means to convert those types of downs and distances. You don't have the means to ask your offensive line to protect long enough to get somebody open in the middle of the field on 3rd and 8. You don't have the means to have offensive protection to do anything that you want to do on down and distance.
Okay, so Tyrod Taylor pass intercepted at Chicago 7, intercepted by Eddie Jackson at Chicago 7.
Okay.
Tackled by Darius Slade at Chicago 4. 1st and 10 at the Chicago 4. Khalil Herbert rush up the middle to the Chicago 9 for 5 yards.
5 yards, right? I wasn't upset at that play in that moment.
No. 2nd and 5 at the Chicago 9. Khalil Herbert rushed left tackle to Chicago 11 for 2 yards.
Disgusting.
So now you're at 3rd and 3 at the 11. Justin Fields steps back to pass. Justin Fields pass incomplete, short left, intended for, and then it stops.
Was that the one to Tresson Ebner?
But it was
no. I think that was the screenplay. I think that was the screenplay to Cole Kmet. I think that was the tight end screen attempt to Cole Kmet.
Was it that, or was it the scramble and then he like tried at the last second to like?
No, I don't. That wasn't the one in that situation.
Then it was the screen.
It was the screen. I think. If
Which
you
again,
someone in the chat fact check us on that.
Which again, I mean, does it has to be a qualification to be a Chicago Bears play caller that you have to call these stupid screens multiple times a game? Is that a requirement? Is it on a big board when you walk in? You better be ready to call screens.
But here's the problem. Like I don't always have a problem.
It worked. I mean, the one Khalil Herbert screen went for like 20 yards.
Yeah, I'm not.
Sometimes it's fine.
Yes,
but in that, like, really,
in that situation, no. I'm not saying never run a screen. Screens can be good. Watch how the Kansas City Chiefs run screens. They kill you. But you have to remember, like, when I said this, and I've said this for years, I said, look, I think Cole Kmet can be a 700-yard receiver. He's not an explosive tight end. He's not an explosive athlete. You're not getting anything out of him in the screen game because he's not explosive. He's going to catch the ball, and the defender's always going to beat him to where he wants to go.
He's not George Kittle.
Every single time. He's not George Kittle. He's not Mark Andrews. He's not Travis Kelce. And he's not even I don't care if he's not.
He's
one of
not
those guys,
David Njoku.
As long as he's just a little bit more explosive, those kinds of things work. So it goes back to that conversation we talked about for years with Nagy is understanding your personnel. Understanding who you have in your team and what you can and cannot do and the limitations of these players. That's a limitation for Cole Kmet. He's not a guy who's going to consistently get you yards after the catch via speed and acceleration. He'll get you yards after the catch. He's extremely hard to bring down, but he's not explosive. And it is so mind-boggling. And it goes back to the point where, again, all these things are true. You cannot place the blame on one single aspect. All of them are bad. That play call, bad. At the same time, execution also bad, right? Like both things can be true. The play call in that situation can be wrong, and the execution can be wrong as well. No blockers up front. The blocking's incorrect. The wide receiver's missing a block, right? Like both things can be true. We kind of have to remember that because we're so in the business here in the narrative world of putting the blame on one person and moving on. No, like everything right now is bad, So it's just frustrating though because if I'm being completely honest with you, I talked about watching Sunday Night Football last night. Like it's to the point, it's so painful being a Bears fan where watching Sunday night, watching good offensive, it hurts. Watching good offense hurts.
Yes, it
hurts.
Correct.
Like I feel physical pain when I watch good offense, and I'm like, how do you do that? I think there's a Steve Naismith. How do you do that?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
It sucks.
I don't understand. I've never seen it in my lifetime. How do you do it?
That's why you have to watch House of the Dragon instead. It's way better.
That's all I want, man.
Yep.
Like Jody Fortson running a slant route, bro. That's all I want, man. Like Justin Fields can make that throw. Like Justin Fields can do these things, man. We know.
We'll never know because we're never gonna see it.
Because it's not his fault. We're not allowing to see it. But it I would say I'll ask you this before we kind of head out here and wrap up. Where would you rank yesterday's loss among painful losses for the Bears in the past 4 years? Past 3 years, really, since 2018. Like to me, it was high on that list.
So 2019, 2021, this year.
I'd say it was top 3 for me.
I mean, I'd have to see a full list, but
because there's been a lot.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that Monday night football stinker against the Rams is up there where it was 12-9. That game stunk.
Yeah, I remember that.
Multiple games last
Mike
year.
in the chat says double dunk at 1 and this at 2. I think there's probably something above this, but
I mean, that Monday night football game against the Rams was tough.
Yeah.
That
was the day that Mitch got benched.
Yes.
The first time. Was that Monday night or Sunday? That was Monday night.
It was Monday.
Yeah,
yes,
that might be number
Chase
1.
Daniel with
that might be number
8
1.
minutes left.
I think it was 3 minutes left.
And it was a decent chunk of time.
That's number 1 for sure.
Yeah, I mean that's up there. Yeah, I mean that Monday I think this Sunday night game when against
Green Bay.
No, not this one. I meant to say like this, and I was going to go on where Foles got hurt, and then Mitch came in, and then You had the game the next week on Sunday night against the Packers. Like those as a package really sucked ass.
But the difference is
the fact that we even can't have too many. There's just too many.
The fact that we have to think about the painful losses, and the reason why
it's just so gross.
The reason why
the Pittsburgh one last year is still up there because that was just fucking
because of the
you should have won.
Yeah, but it almost hurt less because like you should have
you had someone to blame.
It was his best game of his career, but it hurts now because not only it hurts more because our expectations were higher after the first couple of weeks, and we thought that this could be a team that could that should have won a game, the game like that. Yeah. You should win that game, right? And then to not see a whole ton of improvement from your franchise quarterback, and those are the reasons why it's worse. But let me check my notes real quick for anything else I had written down. This is a little this is our outlet here. We got to get everything through. I would say Kindle Vildor has played better slightly, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things. Barr was in hell.
Barr was in hell, but he's been playing well. I'll give him a little respect for that.
Jaquan Brisker's the only bright spot on this team right now. That dude.
That's not true. Eddie Jackson can be a Pro Bowler this year if he's playing this way.
Well, Jaquan Brisker's, he's really good.
He's really good.
He's really good.
Our guy Dwayne Brown, his trainer, wasn't lying when he said
he's really good
in the future. Yeah,
he's really, really good.
Here's the last thing I want to talk about before we head out. Sorry, we're this is a long episode, but I think it's needed. Yeah, we're a little bit over an hour. I think it's kind of needed. What the hell is going on with the pass rush? Like, we understand the interior is bad, but
personnel.
Why is
no?
Who
of these guys that you signed, like, did you really think was going to?
I guess. Well, where's Robert Quinn? Right?
All the attention's on him. Take him out of the game.
No, not really. He's getting a lot of one-on-one matchups, right? I don't understand.
It also could just be like, A, unmotivated. B, knows his team is going nowhere. C,
I don't know if that's
last year was just an anomaly. And D, he's getting no help. Roquan Smith's completely disappeared. Jalen Johnson's hurt. D-line is way worse than you were last year. Obviously, with Khalil Mack being gone, but Keem Hicks gone too. Missed Eddie Goldman gone. The personnel is just worse. He's the only guy to focus on right now.
I mean, the linebacker play was bad too.
Yeah.
You might win that game if Nicholas Morrow makes that tackle on Saquon Barkley. You might win that game. If you're
not trying to recover fumbles out of bounds.
Right. Where's the Hintz principle? Oh, not that one. I'm talking about the one where Justin Fields fumbled and Cody Whitehair's right there and he's not going after the ball.
Yeah, that too.
I mean, what in the 2013 Bears Packers is this? Like what?
Yeah, that was. Yeah, we didn't even get.
I can't blame them on the fumble by the sideline. Yeah,
that's just one of. But I think it was Morrow is out of. He's so far out of bounds. You got to stay away from that ball.
Here's a question I have for somebody who might know a little bit more about the football rule book. If you were when he went to recover that ball, he kind of jumped up and his body it looked like. Yeah, is that do you have to possess it, or if your hands are on the ball and your body is not out of bounds? Does that what I mean? Because that replay through my eyes, is it worth a challenge in that moment if his body's completely above?
Not if it's as ambiguous as we think it.
Right.
Is it
Someone who knows the rule book better than me answer that question, but it's the pass rush is confusing to me because we saw good. I think part of the reason we saw good production earlier in the year, Dominique Robinson had a couple, a sack and a half, and
a fifth-round rookie, you can't expect that every week.
Right, you can't expect it every week, but Travis Gibson's been here for long enough where his production should be there. Al-Qaeda Muhammad's, your big name payment in the offseason. But no, it's not just the fact that, dude, it's not just that he hasn't been non-existent. He's been bad. He's been very he can't. He was one of the main problems with the Daniel Jones bootlegs.
We knew this was the risk because that's why they only got 1-2 year deals. Even if it was the most money you paid to any of your free agents, they were small deals. That was part of the deal. It was a risk.
Yeah.
God, this team stinks.
And it's so.
This team is so bad.
And I'm.
You're about to get. I mean, we'll do it more on Wednesday, but what's going to happen against the Vikings is going to be real ugly.
I don't know.
It's going to be real bad.
I don't know if they'll. I think there's two outcomes. They either get blown out of the water, or they just somehow win. Yeah. There's.
You're probably right.
It's one of two things with this team right now. I think, and and at this, dude, it's I hate it because
this team just stinks.
I just don't understand. It's the problem for us as fans and I don't care who you are. It's the bottom line is like it's so hard to figure out. That's the problem. It's like there's no.
Is it? We just did an hour and a half on it.
Yeah, but like,
isn't that hard?
I think why I say that is there's so many issues that, again, it would be so much easier for us to just say, here's the problem, fix it in the offseason, move on. Sure. You don't have the means to do that right now. Our exposure is going down. That's our sign for us to wrap up.
The camera's kicking us out.
Camera's kicking us out. It's losing battery.
All right.
Sorry for knocking it out earlier. And sorry if the audio and video are delayed.
Yeah, Kevin stinks at his job.
I guess he was bad at this.
Yeah. Well, this was a good
therapy session.
Good therapy session.
You needed this. You were excited for this. I texted you. I was like, "You ready for this show?" You needed to let that out.
Kevin texted me, "I'm excited for the show," and all I sent back was, "I'm gonna yell," and he said, "I know." So
you were pretty moderate with the yelling.
I don't know. I reached peak volume levels there a couple times.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to edit that out.
No,
your levels are clipping.
Leave it all
post-prod for sure.
Raw, unedited. That's what we are on the show.
No, I'm not gonna edit it out. I'm just saying you're definitely right on the ball.
Oh, for sure. But this has been Bears Nation Podcast. Use our code BNP at BetStamp. Show them love and therefore show us love by extension. We appreciate all you guys for watching, listening. We know this is not the most fun team, so we appreciate y'all sticking with us. Until Wednesday, October 5th, when we do our preview for the Vikings game. Like we said, they're either going to get dog walked or just a win. But as always, we appreciate you guys. And as always, it sucks right now, but bear down.
Bear down.